We got another epic chapter that revealed a lot of information about power scaling and the Holy Knights. We expected Luffy vs Scopper Gaban to go a different way, but I believe Oda chose the best option. Scopper Gaban losing would make absolutely no sense right now. He is a new character, one of the strongest of the old generation, and suddenly losing his first clash would be absurd. At the same time, Luffy struggling against Gaban was necessary for the plot. Luffy did not go all out. Otherwise, I would bet on Luffy. Oda probably wanted to show that while it was a friendly fight, Luffy still has areas to improve and should not rely solely on Gear 5. However, I can't fully agree. Yes, I understand that the Straw Hats still need to improve, especially with the final war ahead. I also understand that Luffy defeating Scopper Gaban now would be unrealistic, but on the other hand, I can't pinpoint anything Luffy lacks so much that he wouldn't be able to match up with Scopper Gaban. Luffy has one of the strongest devil fruits and he has awakened its power, which allowed him to defeat Kaido, one of the Yonko. He has advanced armament, conquerors, and observation haki, and he was also fast enough to fight and keep up with Kizaru. Scopper Gaban giving up because of the Holy Knights was probably the best decision Oda could have made. Of course, he couldn't continue fighting Luffy and Zoro while sensing danger, especially since he has a wife and kid. At the same time, we saw how strong his observation haki is. He sensed the two new Holy Knights within seconds. This fact also says a lot about the Holy Knights themselves. Scopper Gaban didn't just sense two new characters, he sensed powerful auras coming from them. He also has Conqueror's haki, as we saw black lightning on the key. It's not surprising that Scopper Gaban has King's haki, but this is important because this fact nearly confirms that Sanji will awaken his own as well, most likely an Elbaf. Luffy still doesn't know Gaban's true identity. This is a recurring theme in One Piece. Luffy usually does not recognize legendary characters, even Whitebeard for example, but he was ready to fight on Newgate's side because he found out Whitebeard was there to save Ace. I believe the same thing will happen in this arc, and I will try to predict it. The Holy Knights want to kidnap the children of Elbaf, and Gaban's son is one of them. So the left-hand man of the Pirate King will fight the Holy Knights. He will be outnumbered, and in the end, Luffy will decide to help him after discovering that Gaban is Shanks's and Rayleigh's friend. I know that in Agenda Piece, there will be a lot of character comparisons, so I'll try to make everything clear. Most character comparisons don't make sense. One character could be much stronger than another, but if the opponent counters their abilities or has mastered a skill in an area where the first character is weak, then the weak character might still win or at least be a tough opponent. For example, Scopper Gaban's observation haki and speed might counter Luffy, but that doesn't mean Scopper Gaban is stronger. If we follow that logic, Luffy wouldn't even be the top 3 strongest characters in Elbaf. If Scopper Gaban is stronger than Luffy, and Gaban mentioned that no one has managed to capture Loki except Shanks, then this could mean Loki is stronger than both Gaban and Luffy. Also, there is no way Shamrock is weaker than Shanks. They are twins after all. This would mean that all these characters, Scopper Gaban, Loki, and Shamrock, are stronger than Luffy, which makes no sense. I've already seen many posts comparing Kaido with Kizaru and Scopper Gaban. Luffy was able to match Kaido with his Gear 2, 3, and 4 forms, while he couldn't do anything against Kizaru and Scopper Gaban. But I thought the reason was clear. First of all, Kaido was already tired. But even if we ignore that, Gear 5 was one of the biggest reveals in One Piece history, and of course, Oda needed some build-up before that. He couldn't just draw Kaido one-shotting Luffy and then have Luffy awaken Gear 5 out of nowhere. It was the same thing with Gear 4. Luffy's Gear 2 was doing fine against Doflamingo, but then he revealed Gear 4. A few days later, he could barely break one of Cracker's Biscuit soldiers with Gear 4, but that doesn't mean Cracker's Biscuit was stronger than Doflamingo. It's just how shonen anime works. It was easier to compare characters' power levels at the start because we would compare their devil fruits. Later, we could even compare their haki, but now, at the end of One Piece, we see a lot of top-tier characters with overpowered devil fruits and incredible haki. There isn't a big difference in raw power anymore. It's all about how they counter each other's abilities. Now, let's move on to the Holy Knights and their plan. We see 2 new knights, Saint Summers of the Horse Shepherd family, the same family as Jupiter from the 5 Elders, and Saint Gillingham of the House of Limotive. It seems that he has a mythical Zoan Kirin devil fruit. Kizaru mentioned that mythical Zoan devil fruits are the rarest type, much rarer than Logia's, yet the Celestial Dragons seem to have an overwhelming number of mythical beast abilities in their arsenal. Not just them, over the past few years we've seen a lot of mythical and ancient Zoans, while we haven't seen any new Logia devil fruits. Only Karasu and Aramaki had them, and they were each only shown for a single chapter. Before that, the last Logia users we saw were Caesar Clown and Monet in the Punk Hazard arc 11 years ago. That's a long time. While the exact powers of the Killin are still unknown in historical texts, they are said to appear with the imminent arrival or death of a sage or an illustrious ruler. The birth of the Chinese philosopher Confucius was even said to have been foretold by the arrival of a Killin. In Japan, the Kirin is considered the most powerful and sacred beast of all, surpassing even the phoenix and dragon. I believe that the second Holy Knight, Saint Summers, will be Sanji's opponent in this arc. There were many theories about Sanji fighting Jupiter, mostly because of their similar appearances. However, Summers gives off the same vibe. Summers cares about food and is worried about the celestial dragon starving, much like Sanji. In fact, I'm sure Sanji would even feed them because of his morals. Additionally, Summers seems a bit silly and made Yonko uncomfortable by being half naked, similar to how Sanji's interactions with women often play out. While Sanji is a gentleman, his perverted side sometimes makes women in One Piece uncomfortable. This parallel between him and Summers could hint at their eventual clash. For me, the Holy Knights have the vibe of CP9, and I really like that. If we get epic fights similar to Enies Lobby, I will be more than happy. We found out that only people with the mark can pass through the abyss. But what is this mark? It may have been something directly created by Emu that allows individuals to pass through the magic pentagram. Maybe this is where Katarina Devon will use her powers. During Egghead, she touched Saturn, so now she's able to transform into Saturn using her abilities. Going directly into Marie-Joie would make no sense since Saturn is already dead, but if the Gorosei and Holy Knights have physical marks on their bodies, then Katarina Devon, and possibly her crew members, could use their powers to pass through the abyss. Will we get an ending similar to Marineford, where the Blackbeard pirates appeared at the end of the arc and stole the show? Another interesting detail was the Holy Knights mentioning visiting Harold's grave. Did they truly have a hand in his death? Oda continues to give us more and more mysteries with each chapter. Also, Shamrock has been summoned back to the Holy Land by orders from above. Is the food supply situation really that bad? What can Shamrock do? I think there's another massive problem, one that was caused by Lafette. Oda wouldn't include this panel randomly. All the Blackbeard pirates had their own missions. Half of the crew captured Garp, another half fought Law, Katarina Devon and Van Augur were on Egghead, and I'm sure Lafette, the stealthiest crew member, had the most important task. Hopefully we'll find the truth out soon. At the end of the chapter, Shamrock mentioned that the Holy Knights should start a game. I believe there are only two possibilities. This game only involves the children of Elbaf and Summer's Devil Fruit powers. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, there is an old German folk tale about the Pied Piper of Hamelin. According to legend, the Pied Piper played a mystical flute that lured children away from their homes, leading them into the mountains never to be seen again. This story is said to be based on real historical events involving mass migration. Strangely enough, Oda titled this chapter Mountain Eater, which could be a reference not only to Scopper Gaban but also to the Pied Piper legend and the upcoming events in Elbaf. The eerie similarities don't stop there. In the late 1960s, a sci-fi show called Land of the Giants featured an episode titled The Pied Piper, in which a character used his abilities to lure people away. Now, imagine if the Holy Knights had a member with a power similar to the Pied Pipers. Not someone who simply takes hostages by force, but someone who hypnotizes them, leading them away willingly. This ability doesn't even have to come from a devil fruit. In One Piece, we've already seen hypnotists like Django who could control people through his swinging pendulum. If a simple hypnotist could manipulate groups of people, imagine how powerful a Holy Knight with an advanced form of this ability would be. The second option involves all of Elbaf and possibly beyond. This game could be a hunting game, essentially a second God Valley incident. The native hunting competition is a triennial contest exclusively for the world nobles. It involves an island-wide manhunt where the slaughter of the resident population translates into points, with the top scorer emerging victorious. If the celestial dragons enjoy watching the Holy Knights kill normal people, then they would surely enjoy watching giants being hunted down even more. However, things won't go as smoothly as they expect. I have a small theory about how these hunting games could lead to the Ragnarok War, which will be uploaded this weekend. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye!